The pick is in.
The Timberwolves have made their selection in the 2024 NBA Draft as the first round is coming to a close. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Kylan Mills, and we are now joined by Locked on Timberwolves host Ben Beacon. And we're really excited to see exactly who they selected as we get ready to break down the pick. This is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/locked on NBA. All right, Ben, 27th overall pick, and the Timberwolves have gone with Terrence Shannon Jr., a guard out of Illinois who was coming off a spectacular season, one of the top scorers, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. What is your take on this selection?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing to like about Terrence Shannon Jr. is he's got an NBA body. He looks the part. He looks like an NBA player. He's 6'7", 6'9" wingspan. You mentioned the production, especially early in the season. He had a 6-game suspension in the middle of the year after some legal problems, came back and played really well in the postseason for Illinois. And, you know, the Timberwolves traded into the top 10 earlier in the draft and picked up who's likely to be a backup point guard this year, Rob Dillingham from Kentucky. Initially, I had Terrence Shannon a little bit lower on my Timberwolves big board because he doesn't create offense in the half court, but he's going to be hopefully that 3-and-D type guy who can be a terror in transition and do some of those things that you need a bench guy to do and kind of fill in the cracks as a role player for Minnesota. And I think he has the ability to be a really good role player. Again, he looks the part. He's got the NBA body. He's got the tools and the potential to be an impact player, especially in transition and from the outside for Minnesota.
Shannon Jr. definitely was one of the most explosive guards that I watched this season in the open court. He's got a really quick first step. He was a lot of fun to watch. And then when he does apply the athleticism defensively, he has the potential to be an elite defender. And I do see that translating into the NBA. However, we're now talking about a team that just made an impressive run to the Western Conference Finals. You're bringing in 2 young players. What realistically do you see the role being for Terrence Shannon Jr., and how much do you expect him to play in his rookie season?
Yeah, I don't think he'll play much as a rookie, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker only has 1 year left on his deal, and that's probably the role. You know, essentially he's a different player, but that kind of backup, you know, wing is kind of the role that I see him in maybe 2 years from now. You know, the primary backup point guard is going to be Dillingham, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker will get some of those duties, and you still got Naz Reid and whatever they do with. I mean, I guess the possibility is he takes some of the minutes that Kyle Anderson had. Kyle Anderson's an unrestricted free agent, so there's a chance he's kind of their 9th guy this year. But I see him more as 2 years from now. Like, he'll get a chance, maybe some fringe rotation minutes early in the season for this team. But a team that was in the conference finals this year obviously has designs on getting back there and getting further next year. So, you know, I'd be surprised if he was like their 6th or 7th guy this year. I don't think that's how they're going to draw it up. But he'll get there in a couple of years. And I think he'll get some opportunities early, depending on how they've still got a pick in the 2nd round. They've still got, obviously, free agency, not that they have cap space, but do they bring somebody back like a Kyle Anderson with the mid-level exception, or a Monte Morris maybe? But I think he's probably like the 9th guy in the rotation, maybe has a bit role early, but this is very likely they're seeing this as, you know, a year from this fall, he's going to be a key member of this bench, almost certainly.
Looking big picture at this Timberwolves team, something you alluded to, they want to now get to the next level of going to the NBA Finals and winning a championship. Still some question marks with players who are currently on the roster, but when you look at free agency, not having a lot of cap space, like, what do you realistically feel like is a next move for the T-Wolves to try to get there to continue to elevate the level?
Well, I think they're going to try and bring back Kyle Anderson. They've got part of a mid-level exception. I think it's like $5 to $6 million, which, you know, Slow-Mo made. He was, I think, $12 million this year, something like that. So that would certainly be a pay cut, and he may be looking for one last, you know, maybe multi-year deal now that he's on the wrong side of 30, or right around 30. I think they'll try to bring him back. I thought after tonight we would have a good sense for their goal, you know, what they were going to try and do. If they had drafted, like, say, a Baylor Shireman or something like that at 27, who's more of a slow-mo type player in a big wing who can also initiate offense and things like that, I thought maybe that would be the writing on the wall for Kyle Anderson for sure being gone. But I think they'll try and bring him back. If not, you know, it seems less likely they'll spend the mid-level exception on a point guard since they drafted Dillingham in the top 10. So I think we're looking at kind of those, you know, wing type mid-level, but also vet minimum type guys like an Alec Burks or maybe like a Torian Prince or somebody like that who could come in and play the 2, the 3, or the 4, kind of a flex, a flexible player in terms of which position they're going to play on the wing, hit some threes, play some defense, but it's somewhere between the vet minimum and the mid-level exception. If they're not able to get Kyle Anderson, I think that's what they're looking to do when free agency opens next week.
All right. Well, Ben, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate the insight. Once again, it is Terrence Shannon Jr. going to the Timberwolves with a 27th overall pick.
Terrence Shannon Jr., now that the distractions are over, just how good can he be at the NBA level? My name is Sonny Verma. I'm the host of Locked On Illini. Terrence Shannon Jr. physically is already an NBA player. He's about 6'6", 225 pounds, 6'8" wingspan. He's capable of scoring at any level and efficiently, shooting 48% from the field last year. He knows how to get to the free throw line, averaging almost 9 free throws a game last year and hitting 80% of. He today can step foot on the NBA and provide the 3-and-D skill set that all NBA teams are looking for. He's one of the most athletic players in the draft, and he focuses just as much on the defensive side as he does on offense. His upside might be limited with the fact that he's going to be 24 years old by the time the season is going to be starting. But if I were an NBA GM who had a mid to late first round draft pick, I would feel comfortable drafting Shannon, knowing Shannon is probably going to be balling well into his second NBA contract. For more Illini information, follow me on Locked On Illini on your favorite podcast network or right here on YouTube.
There you have it. And for more on the Minnesota Timberwolves, be sure you go on over to Locked On Timberwolves and subscribe on YouTube or look them up wherever you get your podcasts. And you can continue to follow our NBA draft coverage. Subscribe to Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.